Let's move on and discuss the creation process of a YouTube video. Before you go ahead, click record, start talking to the camera, it's very important that you do a few different things. This here is an example of a content calendar planner. This is something that I've created every single year when I go ahead and plan my content for the month and for the year. This is one from 2020, and you can see the level of consistency that's required for growing a YouTube channel. Bear in mind, I had like 100 subscribers, no subscribers when I started in January 2020, and I completed the entire year without missing a single upload, sometimes even doing daily videos, and you can see the level of focus that was happening throughout this entire year. I've continued to do this every single year, and obviously it's matured with different approaches and the amount of channels I now run, but this is very important to make sure you're creating the correct amount of content, because one, you can plan out your entire week or the next 3 weeks and see how all of that content links together. And then before you even go ahead and film this content, you want to plan out the videos before you click record, because this will allow you to create an effective roadmap for your potential subscribers and viewers to sort of navigate your channel. So there are a couple of different approaches you can make to planning a YouTube video. The first way is completely scripting it, so you can script out the video, or you can just create sort of an outline. I do a hybrid approach depending on the type of content that I'm trying to create. Now, I already have a complete Skillshare class that shows you how to write the perfect YouTube script. And this goes fully in depth and behind the scenes into me writing a script from the very beginning and the approach that you should take. So I highly recommend checking out this class when you are ready to do this step within your YouTube channel. But for now, let's compare the differences between scripting and outlining a video and when and where you should use each technique. For me, scripting a video from scratch takes a huge amount of time. Sometimes I could write a script for my tech channel and it takes anything from 6 to 7 hours just to write the perfect script that's short, sharp, to the point without any mistakes. But the problem I found with this was that it was impacting the consistency that I could have on my tech channel because I was spending so much time sat there typing stuff in Google Docs. I wasn't actually creating the videos and pushing them out because tech is such a fast moving platform. You need to just get the content out kind of as quick as possible while it's relevant for that year that product's out, or even just a couple of weeks before people want to talk about the next leaks and rumors of the next iPhone or whatever. It's important just to create the video that's best as possible in that time period. But what I found from analyzing this process was that my content, truthfully, was only maybe 5% better at a maximum from spending those 6 to 7 hours. And when I looked at it, these 6 to 7 hours was another maybe 2 videos that I could create from the beginning, both from filming, B-roll, and also editing that entire video if I worked very productively. But there are some advantages from writing the script. The first one is if you aren't that confident at talking to the camera, you don't feel that comfortable, you can't really free flow or improvise that naturally, then a script is obviously the route to go until you start to build up that conviction when talking to the camera. So if you're the type of person that I just described, it might be useful to sort of script out word for word your sort of maybe first 3 to 4 videos to sort of get yourself into the workflow and understand a structure of how you should lay out those videos, like intro, middle section, problem with the product, all these different factors. So then you can figure out sort of a recipe that works for your content. And then once you've worked that out, you don't need to write the scripts anymore because you can then start to just create outlines that take about 20, 30 minutes to sort of produce and get straight to making the video. Currently, the only time that I still write a script word for word from the very beginning is if I'm reviewing a product that I'm really going to give a hard time. I've maybe reviewed a phone, it's awful, the performance isn't very good, some of the features are not that great. I will write a script word for word to ensure I don't make any mistakes. That way, it reduces the chance of somebody writing in the comment section that I was wrong, don't listen to this person, he has no idea, and it just makes sure I keep that authority there when I'm discussing particular topics. But more commonly now, I use the outline approach. And this was the approach that I took with my music channel from the very beginning. I changed it when I went into tech, but I went back to this approach because it's super fast. You go ahead and you just write out the sections of your video, so your intro, and then maybe a few bullet points. What are you going to say within that intro to capture somebody really quick? And then you move on to the sort of, some problems you maybe had with the product. And then you just go ahead, write out your different categories, a few bullet points, and then that way you create a quick outline of the video and you can start filming it and turning it around very fast. This is also very useful if you create news-based stuff. So you've maybe watched, for example, an Apple event or some form of gaming event, and you want to make some news on what was announced at that conference. This is the approach to take. Just write your bullet points, the stats, products that are coming out, then you can turn that video around super quick and try and get on that trending topic. If you want to see some proof from my personal experience of me outlining videos versus scripting them, obviously this was my 2020 content calendar and the consistency was absolute perfection without any flaws. Whereas if we switch over to 2021, my consistency was much less. Obviously, I was running 2 different channels. I had a lot on my plate, but you can see the consistency wasn't that bad at the start of the year. I was trying a few different upload strategies. I was still outlining my videos during this period, but then I started to script them from May, and you can see how many gaps started to appear within the weeks while I was uploading my videos. And then this iPad mini review in September was when I went back to never writing any scripts. I just did everything sort of on the go. There was the odd script now and again, but all of this was outlined, especially during this October period, all the way through to December. And I think the amount of uploads I managed to achieve during this holiday period just kind of shows the difference in the amount of time it took to write those scripts. One final thing that I must mention before you go ahead and film your video is you need to decide on the title and have a bit of an idea of the thumbnail. Just sort of imagine it in your head. What would it look like in combination with these two? That way you can position the angle you're going to take with your outline or your script all based off of this title. Is it going to be a positive review or is it going to be negative? Is there anything that you need to sort of mention to make it coincide with maybe a more clickbaity type title if you're going down that approach? This is very important. And then that way, this will just dictate the entire approach to the whole filming, what type of product shots you get, and what you need to highlight when you inevitably go and record and then edit it. So this is probably, out of everything I mentioned, the first thing you should consider.